Imagine walking through a desert. It's hot and dry, but suddenly you see an oasis. No, not that oasis, an oasis town. It's much more than just a pit stop to rest yourself after days of walking. It's your chance to talk to the locals and share with them religious ideas and concepts that they might not yet recognize, but are willing to hear you out. Whether that may be the promise of Jesus from Christianity, the Karma Dharma ways of Hinduism, or the teachings of the Enlightened One from Buddhism, merchants who traveled along trade routes such as the Silk Roads were the missionaries of various religious and philosophical upbringings. These ideas, doctrines, and practices were spread in two main ways, by land and by sea. When the Silk Roads emerged as a result of Chinese nomads and emperors equally wanting a variety of resources from the other, the emperors desiring the strong-bred horses, and the nomads craving grains, silks, and alcohol from their counterparts. Thus, these roads appeared, spanning across the entire land of Eurasia. Another common land route was located in the Trans-Saharan. Merchants primarily rode on camelback and exchanged goods such as slaves, gold, ivory, and salt. As cultural diffusion and exchange of goods prospered amongst the land routes, the Phoenicians, the ancient world's famous group of seafarers, helped enhance and modernize shipbuilding of the time, which encouraged prosperous maritime trade along the Mediterranean and Indian Ocean. As a result of the emergence of long-distance trade, civilizations had to develop ways to optimize not only their forms of transportation, but as well as their means of communication. Camels and horses were a popular choice for land departure, so the stirrup and saddle for the horse and camel were created for more control, but also comfortability. The Chinese revolutionized sea travel by inventing the dhow with the lead-tied sail. Because of the rise of technology spawning from the need for adaptations, trade and cultural diffusion was greatly accelerated. Not only that, but cotton, sugarcane, and rice spread into the Middle East, and the development of the Qanat system also emerged. The Qanat system was an irrigation system that used a combination of hydraulic and gravitational force to extract water from aquifers. In dry places such as Persia, this was very useful as it doubled the amount of available water that could be used for farming. But as always, with all good comes disease. Smallpox, a deadly and untreatable virus at the time, had become an epidemic in the Roman Empire and through the Silk Roads had spread into China, devastating the population. Because there were less laborers, there were less farmers, and because there were less farmers, you guessed it, agricultural yields staggered. As trade routes grew, the exchange and distribution of various religious faiths commenced. The three major ones that we observe are Christianity, Hinduism, and Buddhism. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the ever-changing emperors of Byzantium. At first, before the fall of the Roman Empire, Christians were heavily persecuted for their doctrines and ceremonial practices. A notable missionary is St. Paul, who preached it willingly in the Middle East that all humans were equally in rank in the eyes of the Creator, and that there was some continuation of life or individual journey beyond death. These beliefs slowly spread into the mind of Emperor Constantine, who, through the Edict of Milan, legalized Christianity, igniting its tolerance in Byzantine. Constantine also was able to incorporate pagan traditions and fuse them with Christian doctrine and declare legitimate rules of Christianity, termed as orthodox. Any beliefs that deviated from orthodoxy was condemned and known as heresy. This intertwined combination is visually demonstrated by the column of Constantine depicting Roman pagan symbols and Christian symbols. Christianity would soon have a greater effect on Emperor Theodosius, who, in 380 CE, inaugurated the Edict of Thessalonica, which promoted Christianity as the official religion of the Byzantine Empire. Another important ruler would be Emperor Justinian, who enacted not the Edict of Justinian, but the Code of Justinian, which fused Christian principles with classic Roman law. The concept of Caesar-Papism was introduced during this time and allowed monarchs to unify their political order into religious institutions. Despite the need for a spiritual rebalance or awakening, Catholicism was used as a wand of political power. A notable example of this are the Germanic king Clovis I and the Franks, who converted to Catholicism to reinforce their political power in their realms. A denomination of Christianity that was popularly adopted by many villages was known as Nestorian Christianity. An Ethiopian kingdom developed a unique form of Christianity, generating their very own Coptic church. As seen repeatedly, Christianity and other religions were much similar to each other, which allowed them to be easily adaptable by a wide demographic range. While Christianity ran mainly solo in comparison to the big three, Hinduism and Buddhism intercepted paths primarily in their motherland country, India. During the Mauryan dynasty, Emperor Ashoka, the grandson of Chandragupta Maurya, famously catalyzed the acceptance and conversion of Buddhism across the Indian subcontinent, which was also used as a tactic towards political legitimacy, calling on the mandate of heaven, as it became more universal, especially through syncretism. Ashoka managed this by passing edicts, commissioning monks and missionaries, and the construction of Buddhist monasteries. Once the Guptas took over, however, Hinduism made its epic comeback, and Buddhism became less and less popular, especially after the Kushan invasion from the north, developing a foreign and barbaric perception by ongoers. Hinduism continued to gain popularity as Bhagavad Gita and Bhakti appeared. The Bhagavad Gita, an ancient text meaning the song of the Lord, advocated for selflessness and passion within an individual's complementary duties. The Bhakti is a branch of Hinduism that put a lot of faith and emotion into the worship of the Hindu gods, Vishnu and Shiva. This emphasis allowed for Hinduism to become further inclusive. New methods of transportation developed after the dawn of trading networks, allowing for the appeal of long-distance communication, trade, and the rise and evolution of religious faiths. The next time you come across a town in the desert, hopefully you're reminded of the journey of those who walked the same path hundreds of years in the past.